The girl with eyes from the stars. The alien market was loud and full of strange smells, bright lights, and creatures of all sizes. Leo walked through the busy street slowly, keeping one hand on his tool pouch and the other near his old plasma pistol. Even after years of trading across planets, he still didn't fully trust these places. He was just here for fuel cells and ship parts. Nothing more. But something stopped him cold. It wasn't a sound. It wasn't a gun. It was a voice, a soft, calm voice, speaking perfect Earth English behind him. "Do you recognize me, human?" Leo turned fast, hand on his weapon. But the sight before him made him freeze. A girl stood there. No, not a human girl. She was clearly alien. Her skin was soft lavender, her hair snow white, flowing down her back like silk. Her ears were slightly pointed and her body was slim and graceful. But what caught Leo's attention most were her eyes. They were teal and glowing, not like lights, but like memories. "I don't think I know you," Leo said slowly. She stepped closer, and for a moment everyone else in the market seemed to vanish. The noise faded, the lights dimmed, and only her voice remained. "Look closer," she whispered. Leo studied her face. Her features were elegant, otherworldly, but something felt familiar. Then she smiled, and something in his brain clicked. That smile, that same soft smile from long ago. He stepped back, shocked. "No, that's impossible." She tilted her head. "You were 7. I was 6. You gave me your blue marble when I cried at the spaceport." Leo's heart skipped a beat. "Emma," she nodded. "But you." "Emma disappeared. They said you died in the fire. The ship exploded. We searched. Your family." "I didn't die," she said, her voice shaking slightly. "I was taken." Leo couldn't speak. His childhood best friend, Emma Wilson, vanished more than 15 years ago on Earth during a spaceport accident. Her name was written on the wall of the lost. Leo had mourned her for years, and now, standing in front of him, was an alien girl who claimed to be her. "I don't understand," he finally said. She looked around, her body tensed. "Not here. Too many ears. Too many eyes." Leo hesitated, then nodded. "My ship. Come with me." Back at his small freighter, the Starlark, Leo locked the hatch and turned on the defense grid. Emma, or whoever she truly was, stood near the window, her glowing eyes looking up at the stars. He sat across from her. "Talk." She turned to face him, sadness behind her soft features. "They didn't mean to take me. I was just a child in the wrong place. They needed genetic samples, for testing, for mixing." Leo's stomach turned. "Mixing," she nodded. "They merged human DNA with theirs to create translators, ambassadors, beings who could connect two worlds." "You're saying they changed you?" "I'm still me, Leo," she whispered. "Inside, I never forgot Earth. I never forgot you." He stared at her. The glow in her skin, her new voice, her posture. She was so alien. Yet, something deep in her eyes truly did remind him of Emma. The same gentle stare, the same small scar under her lower lip. He remembered when she fell off the jungle gym and cried in his arms. "You followed me across galaxies just to say hello?" Leo asked, trying to hide his racing heart. She smiled again. "No, I came because I need your help." His breath caught. "There are others like me," she said. "Still trapped, still marked. I escaped, but they're hunting me now." "Who's hunting you?" "The ones who made me." Leo sat back in his chair. It was no longer just a visit from the past. It was a beginning of something much bigger, and Leo wasn't sure he was ready. But looking at her now, seeing that same child behind the alien skin, he knew one thing: he couldn't let her face it alone. She remembers everything. Even when he forgot, she whispered things only his childhood friend could know. But the way she looked now, glowing skin, alien eyes, it was like time had rewritten her into something else. And still, she remembered everything. Leo sat across from her, arms crossed, heart confused. This alien girl, lavender-skinned, star-eyed, glowing like moonlight, claimed to be Emma Wilson, the girl who once lived next door, the one who vanished when they were children. He wanted to deny it, but her words, her memories, were too perfect. She glanced at the small scar on his wrist and smiled gently. You cried when that glass bottle broke. I held your hand while your mom ran for a bandage. Leo blinked. No one else knew that. I did, she said softly. He leaned forward. If you're really her, what was the name of the treehouse we built? Her voice didn't hesitate. Starport 1. He couldn't breathe for a moment. How is this possible? He whispered. She walked over to the control panel and touched a blinking blue light, dimming the room. After the explosion, I woke up in a metal pod. I wasn't alone. There were others. They took us, changed us. We weren't allowed to speak. They removed our names, taught us to think like machines, but I never forgot your face. Leo rubbed his forehead. You're saying they experimented on you? No, they rewrote me, mixed my DNA, trained me to speak 100 languages, even the dead ones. I became useful to them, but I never gave up one thing, my past, and my name. She paused, then looked at him, voice trembling. You were the only real thing I ever had. Leo stood and walked over to a drawer. He opened it slowly and pulled out a tiny, worn-out blue marble. He'd kept it all these years. He held it in his palm. Emma's breath caught. I gave you that the day we said goodbye, she whispered. Leo placed it in her hand, and for the first time since she stepped onto his ship, she cried. That night, they didn't sleep. They sat together and talked in hushed voices. She told him about the lab ships, about the scientists who never smiled, about the ones who called her Specimen NV04. She showed him her back. A faint line of glowing sigils marked her spine. They tracked me, even after I escaped. I erased most of the signals, but I think one is still active. That's how they'll find me. Leo nodded slowly. Why now? He asked. Why come to me after all these years? She smiled weakly. Because I need someone who still sees me as me. Suddenly, Max, the ship's AI, beeped a warning. Unmarked vessel approaching at sublight speed. Emma's eyes widened. They found me. Leo rushed to the cockpit. On the scanner, a black triangular ship crept in from orbit. No call signs, no beacons. Just silent, slow death. They're not here to talk, Emma said, voice shaking. Leo's hands hovered over the controls. You said they changed you. Emma nodded. Can you still fight them? Her answer came slowly. I don't know, but I'll try, if you stand with me. Leo stared out the window at the ship closing in, and made his choice. I lost you once, Emma. I won't lose you again. He flipped the ship's power to red alert. Outside, the stars burned cold and sharp. Inside, two childhood friends, one human, one altered by the stars, prepared for a fight. And somewhere deep in his chest, Leo knew this was no longer about the past. It was about protecting what was left of it. The mark that glows in the enemy. That hunts, Leo saw it. Just beneath her skin, a symbol glowed faintly like a hidden fire. The moment he touched it, the alarms screamed. That wasn't just a scar. It was a beacon. The hum of the ship was low and steady. Emma sat in the med bay, her body wrapped in a soft thermal blanket. She looked calm, but Leo could see the tension in her hands. She hadn't stopped scanning the walls, like she was waiting for them to crack open and let monsters in. Leo stood beside her, watching the hologram scan of her spine. Something pulsed between her shoulders. A sigil burned into her muscle fibers, woven with something that wasn't quite metal. He frowned. You said you erased your trackers. I erased the surface ones, she said. That one is buried deep. They call it a mark of retention, meant for property. Leo's jaw clenched. You're not property, She didn't reply. Instead, she pulled back her long white hair and turned, revealing it fully. A symbol, elegant but unnatural. Circles inside triangles surrounded by tiny alien glyphs. It blinked, like it was alive. Leo reached out. He didn't know why. Curiosity? Anger? Pain? The moment his fingers brushed her skin. Beep! Every light on the ship's console turned red. Max, the AI shouted. Unidentified signal activated. Multiple incoming ships detected. Coordinates triangulated to this vessel. Emma's eyes widened in horror. They've locked on. Leo sprinted to the control deck. The scanner lit up like a storm. 4 ships, fast, silent, black as void. They weren't sending warnings or messages, they were coming to collect. Emma staggered into the room behind him. I didn't know. I didn't think it was still active. Leo didn't shout at her, didn't blame her. He just turned to Max. Cloaking. Now, cloak engaged. But they're too close, Leo. 1 minute until range breach. Leo flipped switches. The engines purred, then roared. Hold on, he shouted. The Starlark blasted from the hangar bay of the trade station just seconds before the first shot struck the docking wall. The entire market exploded behind them. Emma held onto the railing as the ship weaved through debris. They'll chase us, she said. They won't stop. Leo grinned, blood pumping. Good. Let them try. The next 30 minutes were chaos. The black ships gave chase, moving like shadows, never blinking, never falling behind. Emma sat at the auxiliary station, sweat glistening on her lavender skin as she hacked into old Dominion codes buried in her brain. They'll predict every warp path. You have to go where no one would dare. Leo raised a brow. You thinking what I'm thinking? She nodded. The cyclone belt. He laughed nervously. We might not come out. We definitely won't if we don't try. The cyclone belt was a spinning mass of shattered moons and storm-charged particles. It fried nav systems, 8 lesser ships whole. Leo had only gone through it once and barely survived, but now he had no choice. He entered the storm, the Starlark groaning from every side. Static clouds and magnetized rocks slammed across the shields. The black ships hesitated. 2 followed. 2 didn't. Inside the cockpit, Emma closed her eyes and whispered something, a dead language, one that no human had ever heard. The ship's systems stopped flickering. Her voice calmed them. Leo didn't ask how. They came out the other side, hull battered, air tense, but they were alone. For now. Leo sat back in his seat, panting. You just talked to the ship? Emma opened her eyes. No, I told the storm to hide us. Leo blinked, then shook his head. You're full of surprises. Emma gave a weak smile. So are you. That night, as the ship floated quietly in the edge of a dead system, Leo asked the question he had been holding back. What happens if they catch you? She didn't speak at first. Then quietly, she said, they'll break me open, take the language code. Then, erase me. Leo stared at her, not as an alien, not as a mystery, but as a girl who once held his hand in a treehouse. Not while I'm alive, he said. Emma looked at him, eyes shining. Then I'm not afraid anymore. The chase begins, and the sky burns. The stars were supposed to be their shelter, but now they lit the trail of destruction behind them. When Emma looked into Leo's eyes, she didn't see the boy she once knew. She saw the man willing to fight, the galaxy for her. The silence didn't last. Leo sat in the pilot's chair, fingers twitching over the controls, mind still racing from the storm belt jump. Emma was seated beside him, legs tucked under her, eyes closed but not asleep. He knew she was listening, always listening. She hadn't spoken since she said what would happen if they caught her. Leo stared at her now, not at her skin or her glowing eyes or the strange glyphs along her back. He looked at her expression. That was Emma. Not alien. Not hybrid. Just a girl who once called him her best friend. But he also saw the weight she carried. She wasn't just running. She was carrying a secret the galaxy wanted to bury, and someone had just found them again. Contact detected, Max announced suddenly. Single Hunter-class vessel. No ID, closing at twice our speed. Leo cursed under his breath and jumped to his feet. How? We lost them in the storm. Emma stood up too, eyes wide. They didn't track the ship. They tracked me. She unzipped the front of her suit just enough to show the glowing sigil on her chest. It's awake again. Leo didn't hesitate. He grabbed a blade from the locker. We cut it out. Emma's eyes went cold. No, it's part of me now. If you cut it, I'll die. Leo froze. His grip on the blade tightened, then loosened. What do we do? He asked. Emma took a deep breath. We run, but not away, through. Leo raised an eyebrow. Through what? She pointed at the nav map. Volnari Nebula, ion storms, radiation pockets, dead planets. No sane pilot goes in. Leo smirked. Good. Thing I'm not sane. The ship twisted as Leo gunned the engines, punching into the Volnari Nebula, a glowing purple cloud of death. Sensors blinked red. The AI screamed warnings. Emma stood, holding onto the railing, her body glowing faintly in rhythm with the nebula's pulses. Outside, lightning arced between fragments of shattered moons. Gas storms raged like thunder beasts, and behind them, the black hunter ship kept coming. Emma placed her hands on the ship's control panel. The lights dimmed, the ship quieted. Then, it moved smoother, faster. Are you flying it? Leo asked. Guiding it, she whispered. It's listening to me. Leo didn't question it. He flew hard, dodging electrical arcs, twisting between debris, following paths only Emma seemed to see. Then came the moment Leo feared. The black hunter ship closed in. It launched a plasma spear. Direct hit. The Starlark shook violently. Sparks burst across the cockpit. Emma flew backward, hitting the wall with a sickening thud. Emma! Leo shouted. She didn't move. The black ship loomed ahead, ready for the kill. Leo stood, not as a traitor, not as a pilot, but as a man with nothing left to lose. He opened the weapons bay, manually charged the pulse cannon, aimed. Max. Override all safeties. Warning. Firing at this range will destroy both ships. Leo's voice was steady. I know. He locked onto the enemy vessel, took one last look at Emma, then pressed the trigger. Nothing happened. The cannon had powered down. Leo blinked, then turned. Emma stood behind him, hand raised weakly. I won't let you die for me, she whispered. Her body glowed brighter than ever. She placed her palm on the ship's core, and then the ship exploded in a wave of blinding light. But not their ship. The hunter ship. Gone. Leo rushed to her side as she collapsed again. Emma? She was barely breathing. Don't let me forget, she whispered. Leo held her tight. You're not going anywhere. You hear me? She smiled. Barely. Still bossy, like when we were kids. He laughed, tears in his eyes. You found me, he whispered. Now I'll find a way to save you. The nebula was calm again. Their ship floated quietly, alone. But Leo knew the galaxy wasn't done with them. Not yet. And he wasn't done either. He would take her to the edge of the stars if that's what it took. To save her, to protect her, to remind her of the human heart still beating inside her alien skin. The secret inside her DNA. Leo thought they were only running from hunters. But when he scanned her blood, the truth shattered everything. She wasn't just marked. She wasn't just altered. She was carrying something that could bring galaxies to their knees. The nebula's glow faded behind them. The ship's engines hummed quietly, shields holding steady for now. The silence inside the Starlark felt heavier than usual. Emma lay in the medbay again, her body pale, eyes closed. She hadn't woken since the last pulse, the one that destroyed the hunter ship. Leo sat beside her, bruised and exhausted, but his hands didn't stop moving. He ran blood samples through the ship's old bioscanner, desperate for answers. The results came back incomplete and deeply wrong. Max's voice cracked through the speakers. Warning. Subject's DNA contains unidentified neural coding, foreign, architecture detected in over 62% of her cellular network. Leo stared at the screen. This isn't just human modification, he whispered. It's a living program. Emma stirred. Leo rushed to her. Emma, hey, look at me. Her eyes fluttered open, tired but alert. I'm here, she whispered. He showed her the results. She didn't look surprised. I told you they changed me. You didn't tell me you were carrying a full-blown language virus inside your body. Emma nodded slowly. Not a virus, a matrix, the last of an ancient machine intelligence encoded in bioform. Leo stepped back, eyes wide. You're saying you have a sentient alien language living in your blood? Emma looked at him, her voice barely a whisper. Yes, and they want it. Not just to study it, to control it. Leo sat down, mind spinning. Why didn't you tell me sooner? Because if you knew, she said, you'd try to protect me, and that would get you killed. He was silent for a moment. Then, too late. She pulled herself upright, legs shaking. They built me as a key, Leo, not a person. The code isn't stable. If they try to force it open, I'll die. If I try to unlock it myself, I might lose who I am. Leo looked into her eyes. Then, we destroy it. Emma shook her head. We can't. It's older than Earth. It's already connected to machines spread across dozens of systems. If I die, the code activates on its own. Leo clenched his fists. Then we find a way to remove it. Safe. There is one, she said softly. An old scientist. A defector. She used to work for the Dominion, the group that altered me. She lives in exile now, on a planet called Carnus Red. Leo entered the coordinates. Then that's where we're going. Hours later, while the ship drifted through hyperspace, Emma stood quietly in the observation deck. Her eyes scanned the stars, not as someone admiring their beauty, but as someone remembering them. Leo joined her. You okay? He asked. I've lived among stars, she said softly, but never felt like I belonged to any. He looked at her. You belong here. She turned. Even after what I've become? You didn't become anything, he said. They tried to change you, but they failed. She smiled faintly. You still see Emma? I never stopped. She stepped closer. The blue glow from her body warmed the small space between them. I came looking for you because I needed someone who remembered the girl. I used to be. Leo leaned in slightly. I think she's still in there. She nodded. She is. They stood there, eyes locked, closer than ever. But before either could speak again, Max interrupted. Approaching Carnus Red orbit. Long-range scans detect heavy weapon signatures. Unidentified heat signatures detected near settlement. Emma's smile faded. They know where we're going. Leo walked to the cockpit, hand on his blaster. Let them come. Emma followed, calmer now, because for the first time in years she wasn't running alone. She had someone who saw her, not as a weapon, not as a code, but as a girl with a past, and possibly a future. He fights for her past, and their future Carnus. Red was supposed to be a safe haven, but as Leo stepped onto the scorched ground, he realized it was a trap. And when Emma was taken, he didn't think twice. He went after her, with fire in his veins and death in his hands. Carnus Red lived up to its name. A rust-colored wasteland stretched beneath a sickly yellow sky. The air was dry. The wind howled through broken metal ruins and glass towers shattered from forgotten wars. The planet had no wildlife, just ghosts and heat. Leo tightened his grip on his sidearm as the Starlark touched down outside an old research station buried in the rock. Emma stood beside him, cloaked, hood up, her glowing, skin mostly hidden, but Leo could still see the tension in her hands. Her jaw was tight. "This is where she lives?" he asked. Emma nodded. Dr. Vela. She was the one who taught the others how to encode the matrix into hybrid DNA. But she left, said she couldn't handle what they were doing. "Will she help you?" "I don't know." Inside the station it was quiet, too quiet. Flickering lights, dust-filled air, a single hallway with long-abandoned terminals and smashed monitors. Then, a door slid. Open out walked a tall, thin woman with gray skin, robotic eyes, and long white hair. Her voice was deep, calm. "You brought her here," she said, staring at Leo. "I brought her home," he answered, standing tall. Vela approached Emma, studying her face. "You stabilized," she muttered. "Strange. I thought you would have fractured by now." "I'm not a machine," Emma said coldly. "I held myself together." The doctor nodded. "That makes you the only one." They moved deeper inside. A clean room waited, still powered, still operational. In the center, a scan table and a humming core. Vela placed her tools on the tray. "Removing the matrix will be dangerous. Your neural threads are tied to the code. If I cut too deep, your memories go with it." Emma sat on the table. "I want it gone." Leo stepped forward. "I'm staying." Vela shook her head. "If anything goes wrong, you'll be the first thing she forgets." Emma looked at him, eyes soft. "Leo, if I wake up and don't remember you..." "You will," he said, but deep down he wasn't sure. The machine started. Blue light crawled over Emma's body. Her eyes rolled back. She went still. Then the walls exploded. Outside, black drop pods fell from the sky, kicking up dust and flames. Inside, armed mercenaries stormed the hall, Dominion hunters sent to reclaim their asset. Vela screamed. Leo grabbed his weapon. "Stay down!" He sprinted into the hallway, firing like a madman, gunning down the first wave with sharp precision. His body moved on instinct, not for glory, not for vengeance, but for her. A plasma bolt grazed his shoulder. He kept moving. One hunter broke through, headed for the surgery room. Leo tackled him from behind, slamming a blade into his armor joint. Blood sprayed the wall. "Not today," Leo growled. Meanwhile, Emma's body shook on the table. Vela struggled to keep the neural stabilizers active. "She's fighting it," the doctor shouted. "The matrix won't let go." Inside her mind, Emma was drowning. She saw stars. She saw cages. She saw a little boy with a blue marble reaching out. "Emma, wake up!" She clung to that voice, that memory. Back in the hall, Leo dropped to one knee, chest heaving, surrounded by bodies and smoke. Only one hunter remained. The leader. Twice Leo's size. Full armor. Blade humming. "You are just a human," the hunter growled. "And she is ours." Leo stood up, bloody, burned, furious. "She was never yours." They clashed. Steel and energy collided. Leo took hit after hit. He was no soldier. Not anymore. But he fought like a man with nothing left to lose. And then, just as the hunter raised his final strike, Emma's voice screamed behind him. "Leo!" A pulse of light shot from the surgery room. The hunter froze, body locked, then shattered like glass. Leo collapsed, gasping. Emma ran to him. She dropped to her knees, touching his face. "Leo! Leo!" He opened his eyes slowly. "You remember me?" Tears filled her eyes. "I never let go." They left the ruins as the sun set over Carnus Red. Behind them, the Dominion was broken. Inside her, the code was gone. And between them, something, old yet entirely new, was blooming. She wasn't a weapon anymore. She wasn't a project. She was Emma, and he was the only one who ever believed she could be. "You never forgot me. Now I remember everything." She woke in silence, no glowing symbols, no fire in her veins. Just her, the girl who once got lost in the stars. finally home, and the man who never stopped waiting. The Starlark floated, quietly in orbit above Carnus Red. Inside, everything was still. Leo sat beside her bedside again. This time, he wasn't holding a weapon. He was holding her hand. Emma had been unconscious for nearly a full cycle. The neural purge had wiped the last trace of the Matrix from her body. Vela had done what she promised, but warned that memory. Loss was possible. Leo never left her side. Not for 1 second. He had survived fire, blades, plasma blasts, and nightmares for her. But now, this moment terrified him most. Her fingers moved. Leo jolted up. Emma. Her eyes opened slowly. No glow, no silver flicker. Just deep, ocean blue eyes. She looked around, confused at first. Then she saw him. Her lips parted. You... She whispered. Leo's chest tightened. Do you know me? She sat up slowly, trembling, then smiled softly. You were always taller than me by 3 inches. You hated mustard, and when I cried after losing my marble, you gave me yours. Leo let out a shaky laugh. You remember? Emma touched his cheek. You never let me forget. Later that night, they stood together by the Starview window. No alarms, no flashing lights. Just stars, calm, watching. Emma rested her head on his shoulder. I feel free, she said softly. No code? Leo asked. She smiled. Just heartbeats. A message blinked on the console. Incoming transmission. It was from Vela. Dominion is retreating. The network collapsed without the Matrix link. You bought more than time. You started a collapse. Leo turned to Emma. You broke their chain. Emma shook her head. We broke it. He watched her as she stared at the stars. You know, he said, you could go anywhere now. No more marks, no more hunters. You could build a new life. Emma looked at him, a slow smile rising. I already have. She took his hand. Come with me. He blinked. Where? Anywhere. Let's get lost together this time. On purpose. Leo laughed. You sure? I've been sure since I saw you in that market, she whispered. The galaxy gave me back the only person who ever made me feel human. I'm not letting it take you again. They left Carnus Red. Behind, they left the past in its ashes, and as the ship moved through the stars, Leo adjusted the course. Emma came up behind him, arms around his waist. So, she whispered. What now, Captain? He smiled. Now, we live.